we will just have to see how this works. I am attempting to do a video for the first time in my new space that I have not set up at all for this, but I'm here right now, so I figured I would do this right now. I hope you're having a good week. But things kind of, I've moved, so for me it's been a lot this past week, just trying to like get myself settled in, thinking, you know, here rather than anywhere else, you know. But getting myself settled in mentally, I don't really know kind of where the energy's been for people, to be honest. I know that things have been looking really crazy as we move forward into these questionable political times across the board. I think a lot of people are feeling a lot of ways, you know, and just not really sure what to do, and have kind of been like almost up in this position of on bated breath as I'm talking about these things. The Knight of Wands came out upright, talking about, you know, people I think are kind of coming into this energy of being like, okay, well this is you know what it is, this is what I'm going to stand for, this is what I'm not willing to stand for. I think it's a weird thing because I think a lot of people have felt like they would have more time to make adjustments for certain things, and now suddenly it feels like all of that's been ripped away. I don't know if anything has actually changed today as of yet. It is Inauguration Day is the day that I'm doing this, so I know this morning it was really stormy and dark and dreary. Now it's real windy and bright. I know that there's a lot of cold fronts moving around throughout America, and I think a lot of people are just feeling a lot of type of ways. I don't even know. The political atmosphere has made things really crazy right now. But I don't necessarily want to talk about that, to be honest. Not for this, at least. I'd like to talk about whatever, in the midst of all of this, what can be the focus in the midst of all of, you know, times of things settling, times of things brewing, times of, you know, just this uncertainty and seeming chaos. What's best to be focused on at this time? Good. Okay, well that's a lot. Okay. Well, first and foremost, this card came face down. These cards came out like this. Okay, so actually they came out backwards. I did that backwards. So it's like this. Okay. Oh, okay, and this one came out face up. Okay. So, sequentially, the Five of Pentacles in the upright, a feeling of impoverishment, a feeling of feeling left out in the cold, feeling like kind of bastardized, like what I believed in, or what I hoped for, or what I was convinced would happen didn't, or isn't seemingly happening, and that's leading to this feeling of disempowerment, essentially. It is a poverty mindset, a poverty heart set, but it's not really. I'm not. Well, I was gonna say that I wasn't really getting a tangible. It seemed more emotional, but directly next to it is the Nine of Pentacles, and I see it as a reflection of it being something specifically material. So if we're not talking about something material, we're talking specifically about something that we own. We're not just talking about something material, but we're talking about something extremely personal. I mean, it's giving me that concept of like ego, right? And the struggle of ego, the struggle of identity, and how much of it is tied to ego and how much of identity is tied to our true selves, what that really means for any of us. Ultimately, it's all within our capacity to choose. So, you know, there's an anxiety that kind of, I'm getting this weird anxiety between these two cards. It's almost like this feeling of an expectation that, like, now I'm going to have to perform a certain way or to meet a certain standard or to, like, maybe prove myself, to provide for myself. But there's this weird, like insecurity that comes with it, and it almost, like, makes it, like, it feels like it has to hide a little bit. The Magician is in the reverse. And, I mean, that kind of just feels like it's validating that feeling, right? Insecurity, like, oh, maybe I'm crazy, or I'm not strong enough, or I don't deserve this, or I fucked up before, so, you know, I shouldn't be trusted with it again, or, you know, that kind of insecurity, an insecurity of identity. There's a separate, like, these cards are all kind of like touching, they're all closer together, and then the way that these two are angled makes these separate. And this one here is the Seven of Pentacles in the upright, which is like looking at the work that you've been doing and kind of reassessing it. Like, is this sufficient? Is this going to be good enough? Is this really what I want? Is this really what I've been working towards? I only have so much memory. My phone is already going to die, so this is going to be super short. Or maybe I'll try to do two. I don't know. But that moves directly into the Page of Wands in the reverse. So it's like reassessing and kind of finding oneself. Well, the Page of Wands would actually feel like pretty confident despite not really having much experience. But in the reverse, it's like feeling like you've been humbled and feeling kind of uncomfortable in that position because you don't really know how to embrace, you know, like having to be humble to some degree. It's almost like maybe like there's this, you know, because the Pentacles in all four of these, aside from the Page of Wands, which is in reverse. So it's like maybe there's been a large focus on, you know, material value of things. Like, I worked really hard for this and I worked for this, so these things should be worth something. But there's still just this feeling of lack kind of moving throughout this whole thing. It's just not going to be sufficient. It's kind of like, I'm seeing like almost like a mental illness somebody's struggling with, or like maybe a personality defect, or like an emotional disturbance where somebody's just, you know, struggling with their self-worth. And then at the very top, bringing all of these, this was the initial card, the Empress, but it's now also the last card that came out, right? It's the last card to come out because it's what you've always been. This is the energy that is always existed, but like all of these other energies are trying their hand at pulling one away from their true Empress energy, which is being able to be comfortable in one's confidence, right? Comfortable in one's circumstances, to be confident in that sort of way. That's always been there, but there's all these other experiences and thought processes that we experience that would kind of dissuade us from that. And they will do their damnedest too, and if you let them, they absolutely will. So it's kind of about like turning that reflection inwards Notice all of these things, but then turn each one of them inwards and be able to kind of assess for yourself what is really ultimately bringing you back to your space of comfort, and what isn't serving you, because those are going to be the things that you can just let go of, that you're going to be asked to let go of, or that are going to eventually be taken for the fact that they're not serving the ultimate goal, which is to be able to kind of come into one's own. These like mentalities, wherever this is coming from, whoever this is resonating with, you don't have to identify yourself by the things that you've done, or the people that you know, or the way that you look, or what you have to offer in those types of ways. Like, let yourself be good enough as you are. And if somebody else doesn't want to believe that, doesn't want to give you that, fuck them. Like, they can go chill out somewhere else until they can figure out how to treat you right. But you have to treat yourself right first. You have to set that standard. You can't expect people to do things you're not willing to do, right? So, say just move away from, too shallow of standards at this time, if this is resonating with you, that you don't this is how we're going to get to this space of being able to be comfortable and confident. It's who we already are and who we've always been, even through these things. But it's really about letting that rise to the surface, letting that rise to the top, letting that, become fully cultivated in oneself. Of course, that's coming from me, looking like I look right now. I'm so sorry, but this is what I'm bringing to the table. Just wanted to see how this would work. I'm going to have to try a different setup, but it's been like a week, if not more, since I did one of these, so I figured I would. All right. Hopefully that was sufficient. I hope it blesses it, whoever it was that it was resonating with. Kind of super random, but yeah. Hopefully the next one will be a little better than this. But thanks for stopping by, and I will see you soon.